4 of them now for our opener. And they're off. Racing then a little short of 3 miles is their trip here, so they have 18 fences in total to jump. Favourite Bravemansgame is very narrowly in front as they move to the first of 2 in the back straight on this first circuit. Pat's Fancy, red and blue colours, about a half length behind in second place. The grey Grumpy Charlie and the black and pink colours of Galley Hill, the third and fourth place runners as they come down to fence number 2, where Grumpy Charlie the grey nods a little bit on landing over that one. So they're about to leave the back straight for the first time. Bravemansgame, the odds-on favourite for this race, unbeaten in 3 races over fences so far, has the advantage as he turns left-handed on towards the cross fence, which is number 3. Behind him is Pat's Fancy, red and blue colours for James Byrne running in second place. Third then to Galley Hill, black and pink jacket, Nico de Boinville, the widest one on the course as they now come to fence number 3. Another plain fence. All over it well, flying leap there in second position from Pat's Fancy, long and low over it. Grumpy Charlie the grey very fractionally the back marker as they turn then into the home straight, down the straight for the first time. On towards fence number 4 in total on the way round here. They'll have 3 open ditches to take. They're going to come up as fences 5, 10 and 16. And the water jump right by the winning post to just be once as fence number 8. So Bravemansgame, about a 2-length leader. Lovely leap over that. Landed 2 lengths ahead as he heads down towards the first of the open ditches. Moving to the left, Pat's Fancy as they come to this open ditch. There's about 2 lengths between those in first and second places, and then comes Grumpy Charlie, Brian Carver, red jacket, blue and white on the sleeves, black and pink colours of Galley Hill, just the back marker, as the quartet have cleared that one, and they head down to number 7 then, Bravemansgame. So 2 visits to Newbury so far, has been successful on both of them. Pat's Fancy nearest to us, red and blue colours. About a length behind in second, but touches on leaving the fence almost level with the leader as they come then to the water jump, the only time. Behind those is Grumpy Charlie. He won here last start. His other victories have all been at Chepstow, 3 of them in total as they jump the water. And there's about a 2-length gap behind him to Galley Hills. Had 1 visit in his career to Newbury so far, and that was a success. So left-handed they go away towards the far side now. This time in the back straight they'll have 5 fences to take, with the second of those being an open ditch. Still only about 4 or 5 lengths between the quartet and Bravemansgame. Harry Cobden, white jacket, darker sleeves, out in front as they move to this next fence. To Pat's Fancy is very fractionally in second position from Grumpy Charlie, and behind those about a length and a half to Galley Hill, who's just at the rear of the field. Another open ditch coming up. Bravemansgame's a little short at the previous fence. Comes towards this ditch and pops over it by just a half length or so to Pat's Fancy. The red and blue colours in second. The red with the blue and white sleeves is Grumpy Charlie. Black and pink of Galley Hill just in behind those. Middle fence in the back straight, and they all take that one. So now they've completed a circuit, and they have a little under a mile to go in this Betfair Cheltenham Rawcast Novices Limited Handicap Chase. It's still Bravemansgame. The white cap in front, landed by over a length ahead there. To in second position, Pat's Fancy. Grumpy Charlie just a couple of lengths behind those. This is the final fence in the back straight coming up. Ballyhill 4 or 5 lengths behind the others. They all clear that one okay. They've got 5 in total to jump from here. Galley Hill in the black and pink just struggling a little bit. He'd be a good 8-10 lengths behind the other trio, who continue to be headed by Bravemansgame. Second place is Pat's Fancy. He's about half length behind, maybe a little bit more. And there's only another half length behind him to the grey Grumpy Charlie. This trio well clear now, 15 lengths ahead of Galley Hill as they come down the side of the course. 5 from the finish coming up. Bravemansgame up and over safely by around about a length and a half. They run on towards the home turn. Galley Hill, I'm afraid it's going to be another let at his form figures. He's been pulled up before jumping the cross fence. So there's 3 left in it as they turn into the home straight. Bravemansgame to on the left, Pat's Fancy. The grey, Grumpy Charlie, just rousted along in 3rd position as Bravemansgame approaches the 4th last fence. He's just over a length ahead. Fiddled it slightly, and a better leap from Pat's Fancy, who on the left has come to join him. I have a final open ditch coming up, and as they move towards it, Pat's Fancy in the centre is level with Bravemansgame, and on the left was Grumpy Charlie, who's snapping at both of their heels. They have 2 plain fences to jump. On the right is Bravemansgame. Now he's asserted again by a length to Pat's Fancy in 2nd position. On the left is Grumpy Charlie under pressure. 1 fence to jump. Bravemansgame giving £16 away to both of his rivals. Continues to be in front. Popped over the last by a length and a half. 2nd position, Pat's Fancy, now 3 lengths behind him. Grumpy Charlie trying to rally in the closing stages as Bravemansgame approaches the winning line. He's 2 or 3 lengths ahead. He gave him weight and he's given him a beating. Bravemansgame, Harry Cobden 1, about 3 or 4 lengths ahead. Pat's Fancy in 2nd, Grumpy Charlie in 3rd.
Harry Cobden with me after Bravemansgame's success. That was fun to watch. I'm sure he was fun to ride.
Yeah, delighted with it. Although there's only sort of 4 runners, it was those limited handicaps carrying 159. You have to run to your mark, don't you? And I thought he did exactly that. And there's definitely a bit more to come from him as well.
What's his greatest asset?
Probably his jumping and his temperament. He was quite fresh today, actually. He was getting a little bit warm beforehand, and he just took a little bit of calming down before I got out there. And
he wanted to run round the paddock.
Yeah, he was just staring at me a little bit as we were going round as well. And a couple of times I said, "Go on then," and he put down on me. So that I've learnt plenty. We know we can get him better. So I'd say it's sort of, well, we're all happy with that. We're delighted. Now we can just sort of prep him for Cheltenham now.
So as you say, there were a couple he put down on you. There was one, I think the first in the home straight first time he really leapt at.
Yeah.
So do you just have to leave it up to him?
Yeah, do you know, and it's probably a little bit of freshness, and he was warm beforehand, wasn't he? And he was a little bit revved up. So we know all those things we can improve on, and obviously get him a little bit fitter. And I can probably ride him better. So
that's absolutely not what I was saying.
I'm delighted it's all come right, and he's performed well, and we know we've got plenty to work on.
Okay. This is obviously a flat 3 miles, which looked ideal for him. Does Cheltenham worry you at all?
No, not at all. Although it looked like I was tying up there after the last, he's had a little blow, and he's a much better horse coming from behind. I'm not saying he wants dropping in, but he's a better horse with a lead. Okay. He's just sort of sauntered to the front, thought he'd done enough, and coming into this race today, the one thing I didn't want to do was give him a hard race and put him on his knees and sort of get to 3 out, go 15 lengths clear, and fantastic, you've won a 20 grand limited handicap chase by half the track, but you've finished yourself for the next 5 weeks. So I'm very happy of how we've gone about it today.
Cheers, Harry. Well done.
Thanks.
Well, we spoke to you before the race, Paul. To be honest, you seemed pretty relaxed, and he did what you thought he'd do.
Yeah, he did. I was confident deep down that he'd run well today. I would have been mortified if he hadn't. And a great thing today, he made a little mistake for it, and Harry just eased up on him, let him fill his lungs up, and then he was straight back on it, jumped well, and did the job nicely.
Was there ever a time in the straight you thought he might not win?
No, once Harry sort of just gone, he always had his ears pricked, and I didn't want him to have a hard race today. I'd stressed that before him because he wasn't fully wound up. As I've purposely come here today as a stepping stone, and haven't been that hard on him. So if you said anything, it would be a gallop short today rather than the other way. So I didn't really want to max him, and that's it, Harry. Don't be too hard on him. Just try and keep filling your lungs, and he did it absolutely perfectly. Yeah,
he didn't look like a horse coming from a yard that was out of form, to be honest. So you just think too much has been made of that, do you?
It does. It's like we've been operating in such a high strike rate this season, and then it's just gone a little bit flat through January. That's why I don't get too involved in January. And some of them haven't performed, but there's a lot of excuses for some of them, being honest with you. And I was fairly confident the ones today were in good shape. We'll see how the rest run, but they've all been together all week and look good, and so exciting to do that.
I know he made an error. He's a lovely jumper, though, isn't he?
He did, yeah. And Harry said, I don't really want to make it again on. He doesn't concentrate. That's half the trouble. And when he's got something racing with him or he gets a lead, he's that much better. But he's perfect. You want to see novices need to make mistakes to. We had to cope with making mistakes and get away with it and get a bit of respect, but he's got a superb jump in him, and I'm very pleased.
He seemed to relish that test here, the Newbury test. Do you have any concerns about Cheltenham for him?
He's won round Haydock, he's won here, he's won lots of places. He ran well at Cheltenham last year. Wasn't good enough last year on the day, but one thing you've got is a positive jumper. It suits him quite well, so I'm not worried about the track.
Last year, obviously, he perhaps didn't live up to expectations over hurdles. He's a much better chaser.
That was always because he was a big baby last year. He was still quite weak, and he was always going to be a horse that will get better with time, and he'll be even better next year with another summer on him and strengthens up. And the horses keep improving, and he ran very well last year, but it just shook him a bit that race, and didn't quite run quite so well at Aintree. But that's because he was just, as you can see, he's a huge horse. He's a big baby, and he's just getting stronger all the time.
Cheers, Paul. Well done.
Thank you.
Thanks.